Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got a brand new CGC unboxing for you. But this is not a normal order for me. This is completely a reholder order. I submitted, I think, 12 books? I'm not sure. I'll have to see how many's in here. But it's completely a reholder. These are books that I've been picking up over the last year, mostly from Heritage Auctions and at really good prices, but they actually had the old cases and the old labels, and I wanted to be able to send these in at some point. And I had an opportunity at the beginning of September to send some books in to the James Tynion signing, and so I decided, you know what, I'm going to package that box up with these books here, because when you send books in for signings, you label the boxes with the creator's initials. That way they know, CGC knows, to open that box early. Don't just let it sit there for months on end. So they know to open it up. So I actually packaged in two different orders for books that needed to be, in one case, graded, in the other case, the reholder. This is the reholder. And so I've got these back actually pretty quick. So I sent this out at the beginning of September. This right now is October 9th when I'm filming this right here. So a little over a month, maybe not quite even, just over a month to get these back. These are all pretty good grades. I wouldn't have bought them otherwise. I'm hoping, that's the surprise right now, I'm hoping that everything maintained the grade. In most cases, I'm going to know what the grade was. Not really sure. I know there's some X-Men in here that I like. There's an Avengers book I love. All really good grades. But we'll see. If I find one that I know that definitely dropped down, we'll make a point of it. I'll let you guys know. So that's today's video. We're going to do a reholder unboxing. So nice little box here. I've got the orange deadly knife. And we're ready to go. Let's open up this box. Let's see what we've got here. Now all of these, like I said, came, I think probably all of them, maybe one or two at the most, came from Comic Link, but most of them, I'm pretty sure, came from Heritage Auctions over the last year. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to do a grade reveal. I'm literally just going to pick the book up, we'll set it down, and we'll take a look at it. And yeah, let's start with this. This is a really good. Start off with a banger here. This is Avengers number 55. This is the first appearance of Ultron. If there's anything else on here. Crimson Cowl revealed to be Ultron 5, first appearance. And of course you've got I guess a Masters of Evil appearance with a bunch of the villains. I always liked this. It's a great John Buscema book. It's one of those, during those issues in the 50s and early 60s issues, that I really liked Buscema's artwork that didn't have Tom Palmer as an inker. So this was just a great book. There wasn't a lot of spec on this until the last few years. Maybe when the Age of Ultron came out and they introduced Ultron as a villain. I wasn't buying CGC books. I really wasn't buying a lot of old back issues at that point. So maybe the movie back then made this book jump up. But I know that in the recent years, this has definitely been a high-ticket item. You'll see this on just about everybody's wall when you go to a comic show. You'll find this book. 8.5 is what I bought this as. I don't know what I paid for this, so I'm not really going to get into prices on this, but I know I picked up all of these at decent prices that I felt comfortable adding these to my PC. Now this is a book that I've got raw copies of this. This is a book that if this spikes much higher, this is a book I probably will end up putting up for sale eventually at some point, but right now that's a really good grade on this. Off-white to white pages, kind of what I expected. I'm sure this book right here was a lot whiter when it was new to begin with. You can just see that on the cover. But I believe that was a perfectly fine upgrade. No changes on that as far as I remember. Here is another Avengers I had bought. This, speaking of Tom Palmer with John Buscema, this is issue number 77 of that run where he worked with Tom Palmer on the inks, and this right here is probably one of the least significant books in that run. The Avengers end up having to, I guess they're broke and they need money, so they're working as a demolition crew. I mean, it's beautifully illustrated. It's really funny. There's no significance to this, but it's part of that run of Palmer Bashima that I absolutely love, and I bought this at a really good price, and I wanted to get this in a much better grade. This is, again, another book, a book for the PC. So that one's awesome. That maintained the 9.6. Oh, here we go. X-Men 128. It's a part of that Mutant X Protus storyline. These are the books that I grew up on. I did have Giant Size X-Men. I had number one. I had issues 94, 95, and then I went through this period where I wasn't really into comics. I'm still getting things, but I guess I was getting a little bit older. I wasn't going to the drugstore every Saturday morning with my mom at that point, and I went through a period where I didn't buy a lot of books until I got to about issue 123, 24. So at that point, I was hooked all over again. The John Byrne storylines, I should say Chris Claremont storylines, but the Protus storyline, I absolutely love this. You got a George Perez cover here. That's really nice too. This is I think the first book I bought when I started buying graded books for the X-Men. I'm trying to do this run of X-Men with John Byrne, the books I grew up with. And this is the first one I ended up buying from Heritage Auctions, and it was a 9.6. I mean, the 9.8s have gotten really expensive. And sure, there may have been a good value, but 9.6 I thought was a good buy-in value on these. And yeah, 9.6, I'm really happy with that. White pages, just absolutely beautiful. What was funny is last week I'm literally going through the PC collection. I'm seeing which X-Men books I have because we're getting ready to do Baltimore Comic Con, and I'm like, well, which books in that, well, from issue 94 up to 143, you got Cochran, you've got Byrne. Which books do I need to add to my collection? I don't need to buy duplicates necessarily, but which ones do I need? And I started going through it, and I couldn't find the three that I had in here, but I knew that I had 128 100%, and man, I was tearing this place up. Is the book filed away someplace? It took me a day before I realized, oh yeah, I sent it in for this reholdering. Just like 128, here's an early one that I had bought to add for that run. This is issue 126, again part of the Protus storyline. No real significance to this. Protus and Mastermind appearance in this. Of course, this is the stories. Issue 125, then 126 and on up starts that Dark Phoenix storyline. You start to see Mastermind as in his I can't remember the name of the character he portrayed to fool Jean Grey, but you start to see it in this, I believe. So 9.6, that maintained the grade. That was white pages there. And I think this might be the last X-Men that I ended up getting reholder. This is issue 118. And I think you've got a Dave Cockrum cover, yep, and John Byrne, of course, did the artwork. Got Starfire, right? Sunfire, what am I saying? Sunfire appearance in this. You know, beautiful John Byrne artwork, perfectly good. This maintained a grade too. As I said, I'm doing 9.6s on this whole run at the very least. So far, I've gotten a couple of 9.8s of the books that I have graded. Recently, I just got a issue 95 back as a 9.8, and I know I've got an issue 112 back as a 9.8. So they're almost too good. I actually probably need to sell those to help pay for some of these orders like this. 9.6s I probably wouldn't have been no issue. I'd hold on to it no problem. But yeah. Now this is interesting. This is issue 118. I didn't think that this was a large, a thicker book, but it is definitely in a thicker slab here. Here, take a look here, and you can see 126 is right here. This is 126 is right here. I just showed you that. This is 118. You can see the difference there. And yeah, that's interesting that they've got this into a thicker slab. But 9.6 on that. So far, we're doing pretty good. Nothing's dropped down for any reason. Oh, I'm sorry. I did actually have another issue of X-Men. This is issue 143, the last of the John Byrne X-Men Wonderful Kitty Pryde storyline, Christmas storyline, 9.6. No problem with that. It's not. This is not a terribly expensive book at a 9.6. Any of these books go up really a lot at a 9.8. So I've just kind of avoided it because I've been very happy with this 9.6 grade level. I mean, it's it's a really good level. Here's issue number 4 of Wolverine the Limited Series as a 9.6, and we got an issue right here. The archival paper that they put in here has actually slipped out of the book a little bit. So I may contact them about sending this back in, and maybe I'll try to, I don't know if tapping on this will actually get that to go back down, but yeah, there you can see the archival paper in here. So I'll contact CGC about that and see if we can get that one fixed. And I'm working on a run of, actually no, I take it back. I already have a run of these Wolverine, the first mini-series. I already have a run of 9.6 on that, but that's a series I'm trying to get a 9.8 on. I've got 9.8 on, I think, at least 2 of them, but that's one I'm slowly working on. Getting a 9.8 on that issue number 1 is going to be either expensive or I'm going to get lucky on one of my great books I'm going to get graded. I've got a couple in the press right now. We'll see how that goes. Here's another Avengers book. And I'm pretty sure that this was a 9.4. I don't think this dropped down. I don't remember this being a 9.6. I'm sure it was straight up a 9.4. This is, I think, the first issue in the run with Buscema Palmer on this. Yeah, I'm not sure. But just a fan of that artwork, fan of that run that they run. It's about 10 issues, give or take, with Sal Buscema stepping in for one issue. So yeah, 9.4 on that. That's a book that I will look to upgrade to at least the 9.6 at some point. But 9.4 on that book. This is late Silver Age, 1970. Now, I do have some Avenger books in here. This is a 9.2 Ultron 6 appearance. This is Avengers 67. This is, I want to say you've got Barry Windsor Smith artwork on this. Yeah, Barry Windsor Smith art, Sal Buscema. It's a Sal Buscema cover, though. That's what it is. Because Sal actually did a few issues. This might have been one of his first Marvel books right here. Because he did this. I know he did issues number 69. That was the very first Avengers book I ever bought. And then he did 70, the first Invaders. I guess those are also the issues with the first Squadron Supreme and all that as well. So yeah. So we've got some really nice Sal Buscema artwork in these, and got some Barry Windsor Smith artwork on this. That's awesome. 9.2. Again, not an expensive book. It's not really a key at all, but I'm such a sucker for the Avengers run. It's one of my favorites. This one right here is one of my all-time favorite books growing up, because I'll tell you what it is. It's Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., number 15. And you've got Herb Trimp artwork here. And I just love this. I had this copy as a kid. It was one of those, there was a handful of books that I found at my grandparents' house. I think they were left over from when my uncles had lived there. I don't know who had it. I suspect which uncle it was. But this was one of the issues I grew up having in my possession. I had this. I had several Spider-Man books, and I loved this cover. I used to take paper and I would trace over this figure of Bullseye. This is the first Bullseye. He first appearance and death of in this issue right here, and he kills Nick Fury in this issue. And I used to trace over this figure on the cover here and create my own characters and everything. It's just a wonderfully rendered book right here. What an outstanding cover on that. Herb Trimp could really. There's times when his artwork just absolutely was fantastic, and there's times when it wasn't all that. But this is one of those. This whole issue, I loved his 1960s artwork on some of these issues of Nick Fury. But love this issue. Got a 9.4 on that. I've actually got a raw one in at CGC. It's in an economy order, so I don't expect it back anytime soon. This right here was an 8.0 of Captain America 13. And I had bought this early on when I started targeting last year what books do I want graded in my collection kind of run, and books that I wanted in my PC. Now I had this, it was a rough copy, and I had wanted to get really nice graded copies of the Steranko issues here. And I found this as an 8.0, and I think this one actually came off of eBay, and it seemed to me like a really good price for an 8.0. Now I've since upgraded twice, I think. One I think I bought graded that was on a higher grade, but I did buy, I had a really nice copy that I got raw from Heritage Auctions that I cleaned and pressed and took it down to the Heroes Con this year and had Jim Steranko sign it. And I sent that in, submitted it there with a facilitator. They sent it in. Just recently got that back from CGC, and I got a 9.0 on that. I was sort of hoping for a 9.2 with an outside chance of a 9.4, but it was a 9.0. It was a pressing success. Their Heritage's grading gave it a VF kind of, which would have been a VF, very fine kind of grade, which would have translated it over to an 8.5. So a 9.0 was definitely an upgrade. This right here is an 8.0. This is a book that will be for sale, but I wanted to get it in a better case. So I put a little bit of more money into this one to make sure we've got a very clear case. It presents really well. We got classic cover, Madam Hydra, Viper, appearance, Nick Fury, Avengers, appearances. Yeah, just great Steranko goodness here. And then one last book. Oh, yeah. This right here is my favorite issue of all time. This is my favorite comic book. This right here, again, part of that Buscema Tom Palmer run that I just talked about multiple times during this video. This right here, though, is my favorite issue. If you guys ever get a chance to read this, just sit back and check out the artwork. I mean, it is just absolutely amazing. If you ever get a chance to see the original pages of this and just see it in black and white, it is absolutely stunning artwork. I mean, stunning. I mean, it's museum artwork. It is beyond most of the stuff you see today's artwork. You get a lot of pinups, and they try to make splash pages and everything. But man, I'm telling you, the artwork in this issue is better than anything you'll ever see. So I don't own any of the pages to this particular issue. I do own some Palmer Buscema pages from this run, and they're fantastic. But I ran into a dealer last year at Baltimore Comic Con who had one of the pages from this issue. It's a beautiful M'Baku Man-Ape battle with Quicksilver and Captain America, and it was only about $9,000. Now, I think that price at this point has probably gone up. It's going to be interesting when I see that same dealer this year, if they still have the pages and everything. And we had a discussion about how do you get those kind of pages? Well, you have to trade up to it. And yeah, I mean, it's something to consider. I mean, I don't have, well, I do have some artwork that I could probably trade up for, but I don't really want to get rid of it. I do have some graded books, though, that I might consider bundling to see if I can go up to it. That might be an interesting ploy for Baltimore Comic Con this year. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I haven't decided. I kind of wanted to bundle some graded books, some really high-grade graded books, bundle that to try to pick up a major key, depending on how much I could trying to get a good Hulk 181 or Giant Size X-Men #1. Nice graded books for the price, and try to trade up and to pick up one of those keys like that. But yeah, I hadn't even thought until I just was talking here. I might try to trade up and try to pick up that page of artwork. I mean, that right there. Yeah, that might be it might be something that I'll be tempted at. But anyway, guys, that's it. This has been a very successful reholder. Everything maintained its grade. Everything's beautiful, just absolutely stunning in these new cases. The labels are all perfectly fine. Yeah, no complaints. CGC, well, except for the one where it's got the archival paper stuck out a little bit. We'll address that with CGC and see if they'll take care of it. And yeah, that's it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like this kind of content, please think about subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't already subscribed, yep, please do. But if you have already subscribed, I want to thank you guys. I went over that 500 mark here a few videos ago. I want to thank each and every one of you for the support. I love that the channel keeps growing, and we'll just go from here. We'll see where this goes. I'm going to try to have you some really good content for Baltimore Comic-Con, and we'll see what I can come up with. I don't necessarily just want to do one where I walk around the show. I want to try to bring something that gives you guys some insight into the show and insight into what I do in this hobby and how I go about things. So that's it. I'm out of here. I will see you for the next video. Take care.